Hey guys, welcome to another Ruffstuff podcast. I'm Ruffstuff CEO Garett, and joining me today I have Mallory, our Vice President.
Hello.
And Steven, Ruffstuff Purchasing Manager.
Hi.
And our guest today is Ruffstuff sponsored racer Jimmy Haughy.
Thanks for having me.
What's up, man?
Welcome. So we want to get to know you a little bit. Well, we know you. We want our listeners to get to know you a little bit. So I want to ask you if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do.
Yeah, my name is Jimmy Haughy. I live in Sonora, just a little bit, about a couple hours southeast right here in the foothills. I am the owner-driver of Fighting 55 Racing. I have an Ultra4 car. Obviously an off-road enthusiast, race when I can afford to, and just a Ruffstuff fan. We've been a fan of you guys for a long time. I mean, probably since you guys' inception.
Has the Fighting 55 always been like that? Like, how long has that been around?
No, so that was the thing is when I first started doing competition rock crawling, you got to have kind of a team name and something. My last name is Hoy, but it's pronounced H-A-U-G or spelled H-A-U-G-H-Y, which is really tough to pronounce, like we were talking about earlier. So it's kind of a tough team name to kind of throw out there. So trying to come up with different things, and I'm a firefighter by trade. So my local union for the fire department is Local 55. So
cool.
I just kind of did a play on that and did Fighting 55 Racing.
Nice. So how long have you been a firefighter?
21 years.
Nice. And have you always been at your station that you're at now?
I've been in the city for 21 years, but you bounce around sometimes station to station. I was at my first station in East Oakland for 14 years.
Wow.
And then I promoted to driver, and then I was downtown for, I think, 3 years, and now I'm at my station in North Oakland for the last 2 years.
Cool.
I don't think that math is right, but right around there.
Cool. My dad was a paramedic for 35 years for AMR.
Nice.
And then he also commuted up to Oakland all of my childhood doing like 24s, 48s. He also worked for Loomis Fire Station when I was a kid, just as like a volunteer. So I have a very soft spot for our, firefighters and paramedics and stuff.
It's a process. I mean, when I was in high school, I was taking classes and then worked at our local ambulance and volunteer fire department before I got hired in Oakland. So that's my day job, pays the bills, allows me to try to race when I can afford to.
In Oakland, is it primarily first responding, or is it a lot of fires, or a little bit of both?
So I'm a paramedic as well. So we started as a firefighter paramedic. So we have our ALS units. We drive and we go to all the EMS calls. We render first aid, and then the ambulance comes and takes the patient to the hospital. And if needed, we ride in and help out the ambulance crew.
Did you ever work for Foothill Fire?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay, my dad did, but that was like a long time ago. Way back in the day. Well, that's awesome. So you're a firefighter by day and a racer by night and weekend, right?
Yeah. That's the nice thing about the firefighter schedule. It kind of affords you a lot of time off. I'm at work my normal schedule is 2 days on, 4 days off. So I can flip-flop days, and I can work 4 days off and sometimes be off for a week. So it's nice. You can trade your days back and forth, whereas, I mean, there's good and bad. I'm at work sometimes for 4 days to a week, or even, sometimes 2-3 weeks sometimes. But
it's tough on the family.
Yeah, especially with California's fire seasons and stuff. It can be gone for weeks on end.
Yeah. Do you guys do strike team?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what's that like for you?
I enjoy it. That's how I started out my career doing wildland firefighting. So I always enjoy going out on the strike teams and doing the wildland firefighting. It's nice to get out of the city of Oakland.
Yes.
Just kind of different, just a different thing to do. But I have 2 little boys at home now, and I haven't really had the time to do it. I've got a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old at home.
I was going to ask you about that. Congratulations!
Thank you.
You just recently
so
had your
it's a little
second.
tougher. What's nice about where I'm at is you can sign up to go, or you don't have to go. So last couple of years, I haven't gone.
Yeah. And I'm sure, I don't know, my friend's husband works for Sac Metro, but when he does strike team, supposedly you're like sleeping on top of your rig. Is that true?
Yeah, or on the ground or in cots, or sometimes they'll bring in these big 53-foot trailers that are just bunk beds inside of them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I call them sleep trailers. They have a bunch of sound deadening in it and the hum of the generator and AC, and let you fall asleep in those little mummified cubes.
Well, that sounds kind of nice. Better than sleeping on top of your rig,
some
right?
People hate them.
Really?
It is very claustrophobic. Like, I'm 6'3", and my head hits the top, my feet hit the bottom.
Oh.
So it's definitely tight.
Yeah, a coffin.
Yeah.
Do they provide food for you, or do you guys have to bring your meals?
They provide foods.
That's nice.
They have a lunch or bag lunches if you're out on the fire line for a couple days worth of food, and then when you're in camp, they have catered lunches and breakfast.
They have like a whole crew out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically
fire camps are pretty elaborate.
Okay.
It's a little city, self-contained city, and some fairground
No pun
parking lot or
intended, but
something.
it sounds like Burning Man.
Yeah, right.
Right? Okay. So you're a father. Tell us what dad life is like.
Well, it's a cliche, but best thing ever, right? I mean, I think your guys' daughter is just a little bit younger than my oldest. So, it's, I waited, I'm 42. I waited later in my life for us to have kids. I've been wife for 16 years now.
Congratulations.
So we waited, and I mean, there's good and bad to everything, but no, I love being a father in my 30s and 40s.
I feel like we also waited a while. I feel like there's an advantage to being a little more stable, kind of knowing where you're at, what you're doing, and I feel like we're able to be a little bit more confident parents and also a little bit more, I guess, like not responsible, but like even keeled and things. You're not like, where's my next paycheck because I'm not 20 and where are we going to live and that kind of stuff.
I would have been a phenomenal father in my 20s, but I know I'm a better one in my 30s and 40s.
I can't say that for myself. I don't know about myself in the 20s, but yeah.
No, it's funny. My biggest fear, and it's definitely not the case with my oldest son, is that, I mean, I love everything outdoors, obviously with the racing, the Jeeps and rock crawling and everything else. And my biggest fear was that my son was not going to be into any of it. And nothing is farther from the truth. My son, I mean, he lives for fishing. He lives for the buggy. It's fun. It's a nice, you know, you always have it in the back of your head. Like, he's not going to like anything I like.
Yeah. My daughter's really into horses, and horses really scare me.
Yeah.
So that hasn't worked out super well. She also really likes lions. Yeah, we took her for one horse riding lesson, and she's so small that I had to walk next to the horse and hold her the whole time. And I was like, ooh, like a spider jumped on her back. It smelled like horse shit everywhere. I wore sneakers because I didn't know that I had to help. I was like, we'll come back in a few years. So, I mean, lucky for you. You guys are sharing the same hobbies right now.
Yeah. So
good.
Makes it easy.
Good. Okay. So how did you get started out in off-road?
I guess like anybody just has a hobby, you know, in high school you enjoy your vehicle and modifying it and off-roading or whatever it may be. And then it seems like in the late 90s into early 2000s, that's when rock crawling kind of really took off, and I started getting involved with that. Had a Jeep CJ7 that I had a rock crawler and took it everywhere, had a good time, and pretty much drove that thing into the ground, had a broken frame, caved in cage. I mean, I beat it up bad. And so finally decided I was going to build a buggy. Never built a buggy before, had some decent fabrication skills, nothing great, but enough that I can actually bend some tube and stick some metal together. And so built the buggy, and that was at my point in life, that was the coolest thing ever. And it worked good for what I was wanting to do. And then I decided I want to start doing some competition rock crawl, because my co-driver is actually Dave Long. He's a wonderful wee rock competitor, but he was doing cow rocks at the time, which is kind of relatively new. And so I decided I'm going to try to enter cow rocks, and they had a class for us, which is the super mod, which is a huge, I mean, there's the biggest buggies out there. Basically, it's like trail rigs, but it was like, at the time, it was like me, Kevin Yoder, the Emick brothers. It was just a good group, and we did horrible, but we had so much fun. I mean, those rigs were just way too big for the courses we're trying to do. Some people were really good at it. I was not, but I had fun doing it. And then, of course, it just kind of progressed, and you start realizing you want to go faster. And then Goodby's NorCal Rock Racing took off, and it's actually even before the buggy. Actually got more story about King and Hammer stuff, but decided to try to race the rock crawler, and that went horrible. So
what elements of it went horrible? I mean, when you say that, a million things cross my mind, right?
I had air shocks for one. So we're trying to race and jump, and the car's unloading around every corner, and the air shocks they're horrible for jumping. They don't. I tried to put a little extra nitrogen in it, so I had some more bump to it, but no, it just made it ride horrible.
Made it worse.
And then but that was kind of the thing. I started kind of putting parts aside and decided I wanted to build an Ultra4 car one of these days, and slowly kept doing it, kept putting parts aside until my buggy was so destroyed that I literally was cutting off tubes, replaced tubes, and the whole chassis was moving an inch, here and there. And so it's like, well, it's time.
Yeah.
And so I tied in with Keith Beam up at Get Bit, and we built a chassis.
So you basically got bit by the bug, and it just escalated from there.
Oh, yeah. No, so back, I'm trying to think when the original KOH was. So back in the early 2000s, we would go down Johnson Valley. I mean, all the time. It's relatively close for us up here in Northern California to go down there. But we happened to be down there when Dave Cole pre-ran the original.
Oh, the
KOH,
like OG13.
The OG13. So I was telling Dave, they always say the OG13, but there's only 10 of them. But the funny thing is I think the kind of confusion is Dave came over to our camp and asked us, hey, would you guys like to pre-run this race I'm putting together? And we kind of talked about it. My Jeep was on propane. He was mentioning like outer limits. I'm like, that's like 20 miles away. That might as well have been, a drive
whole
home.
day in a trail rig.
Yeah. And so
Back then.
so anyways, we couldn't do it if we wanted to. Hindsight, I wish I would have just lined up and drove and turned around.
Tried.
We did line up and we just took off with them. And we just peeled off when came back to camp.
So it's actually the OG14. You just don't get it's honorable mention.
Yeah. Well, no, there's only I'm wondering if they counted the 13 because it was me and Dave were lined up.
Oh.
And actually, I think my
ask.
buddy Phil was too. Oh no, we had video of it. I showed Dave, and it's funny. It's a funny story now.
What does he have to say?
Oh no, he wanted to see video of it.
Well, I just mean, does he agree that you were part of the OG13?
No, it wasn't part of it.
I'm like, we'll get an attorney.
I'm not saying that at all. We just lined up and happened to be there, and there was no way in hell we could have gone to outer limits with my rig or anybody else's. So.
But all you have to
In
do
our
to be
group.
part of that was take off, right?
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
We were in a golf cart.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, roller skates.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's so. It kind of just escalated from there.
Yeah, and been to. God, I went to every KOH there afterwards until a couple of years ago I missed one, and that was the first one I missed. And yeah, it's always been just the thing to do in February.
Yep.
I had fun with it, and I always until I built the car, I was a fan. I'm a huge fan of it. And so like when I got involved with Ruffstuff during the rock crawl stuff, I was going down and. I even remember I'd bring beer because you guys would have the incredible booth set up and fix everybody's stuff. And I remember bringing beer, like, hey guys, here, let's have some beers.
Oh, down at Hammers.
Yeah, down at Hammers into the pit. Yeah, and like one time I remember you guys were so understaffed. I'm like, I'm gonna come. Can I come hang out and volunteer?
I remember that. Yeah,
and
cool.
I actually came and volunteered. And I remember, and like I said, I was a fan. I wasn't before I was ever involved with Ultra4 at all. And I remember I'm helping out, and then Doug Bigelow comes in with his car broken, and he's like, "Can I just pull in here?" I'm like, "I don't know, sure, come on in."
Yeah.
And we pull in. I start helping him take his shocks off, and I'm working on his car with him for an hour. And we're sitting there having a beer, and we're having a great time with it, just laughing and joking. And he's like, "Oh, so how long you been working at Ruffstuff?" I'm like, "I don't work at Ruffstuff."
He's like, you could.
Yeah.
Who the hell is this guy working on my...
No, he literally stopped. He's like, "No." He's like, "What are you doing then?" I'm a friend of theirs and just
helping
volunteering
out
tonight.
Yeah. Here for
He's
the
like,
cause.
"What?" But yeah, it's funny.
That's funny. It's good
So,
times. I remember you at Cal Rocks. I don't remember you meeting you, your face, but I remember watching you drive and like hitting this. The only thing I remember actually was you hitting this bonus line. It was like a hill climb or a rock climb, and you had a broken drive line. And you kept just
I
trying
only had rear wheel drive. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, and that was like my first impression, I guess.
Yeah, we had to get at the top of that bonus to finish, and we spit a drive line out, and it worked out well because it spit out clean, and so there was no drive line to sit there and bang around anymore. And my spotter was like, "Yeah, go for it." And so I just remember lining up and trying to take runs. I remember that, and because your guys' booth is right underneath it.
I think it was. Yeah.
And I
Sounds
just kept,
dangerous.
and it was a horrible transition, and to get up on this ledge, and I remember backing up like 5 feet and hit it and peel out and come
There's
back.
2 points.
And then and I just had to try to 3-tire it, just get up and anyways, I
Wow.
just kept backing up farther and farther and flooring it, and next thing you know, I'm putting on a big stupid show.
Yeah, I asked
it's all
Dan
about.
yesterday, how did you meet Jimmy? What did you think of him? And he was like, he was just a really nice guy. And also he was doing a bunch of crazy shit and getting
Yeah.
people's attention.
Yeah.
Because I was asking
And
him
my
like
big
what
loud
the
boogie,
history.
I couldn't do anything worth it really good.
I was curious how you and Ruffstuff originally got linked up.
Actually, that's a cool story too. I mean, like I said, going to KOH all the time, and when I was doing the competition rock crawl, and I was trying to take it as serious as I could, and there was only like 1 year. I don't know if you guys remember that Dave set up a bunch of seminars, like marketing seminars, and King had a shock tuning seminar, and it was like one day only, and really not a lot of racers took part of it. And I remember I dressed up, had a nice shirt with my name embroidered on it and stuff, and I go sit down, try to pretend like I'm somebody that should be there, and I'm sitting through all these seminars, and I actually sat right next to Dan. I knew who Dan was. He didn't know who I was, and I ended up by he came sit next to me, and we're bullshitting, and I remember one of the marketing things had they had an idea, or they said, hey, this is a great idea for anybody who wants to just explore, new sponsored drivers or anything. Do a coupon code. And it tracks them, and every time that they use that coupon code, he knows that he's putting your name out there, and he gets a little bit of it, or whatever the case could be. And so we broke for lunch, and I'm standing behind him in the hot dog line, and he's like, hey, what'd you think about that? And at this point, we had already talked and reintroduced myself to him, because we had met before, but I didn't think he remembered me. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like cool. He's like, would you be interested in doing it? I said, yeah, I'd love to. And so that was the start of the Fighting 55 coupon code, which I always call every now and then, have you try to renew it. It's like a 10% off thing. And I remember we got just stacks of the Ruffstuff stickers at the comps and stuff. I would have my kids or my friends' kids go deliver them out. Everybody just hand them out all the stickers. And I had a stamp with the Fighting 55 coupon code on the back.
On the back, yeah. That's awesome.
But that was the start of kind of my relationship with Ruffstuff.
So go ahead.
I was gonna say, I remember hearing a story from Dan regarding maybe setting you up with like a diff cover too, or was that back at Cal Rocks, or was that that was I think maybe my story, because that was when Ruffstuff was really new, and I remember it had a website, and it was super cheap for what it was. I'm like, we found them, like, oh, they're just in the Sacramento area. Well, it was awesome, and it was back. It was like I said, it was early. It was in my Jeep CJ days where we didn't have the big, thick, 3/8, diff covers. If you wanted a thick diff cover, you had to find a front Dana 60 and put it on the back and just, or armor it up, or, so these new big, diff covers were the thing to have. And so I called to get one, and Dan was sold out. And I actually talked to Dan personally on the phone, and I'm like, I was kind of bummed about it. He's like, well, I'll maybe have it in a couple of weeks. I'm like, we got a trip this weekend. I'm like, no worries. He's like, well, I can send you, I got a display one. It's all powder coated yellow. He's like, you want that? I'm like, yeah, sure.
I'm surprised he would have something yellow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was bright yellow or orange. I'm trying to remember if it was yellow or orange, but it was bright.
Yeah, it's yellow. I know the one you're talking
about. And what was funny is I
didn't
want a bright yellow diff cover on my Jeep, so I painted it black.
Why not?
Every time I smashed a rock, that powder coat was black.
Oh, nice.
So
it's just like cracking off.
For years, it'd just be yellow peeking through.
It's so
it always reminded me of that story that he sent me his yellow diff cover.
Okay.
Nice.
Off the shelf, off his display.
Yeah, that's Dan. That's how he started Ruffstuff, just being really generous, giving out whatever he could.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I was really wondering what the origin of like you and Ruffstuff and how that kind of came about.
Yeah. I think it's just kind of running the same circles and being somewhat local. And yeah, that's what helped me out.
What products of ours have you ran over the years, and what are your like tried and true?
Well, I mean, back in the day, it was always your link tabs. That was kind of the bread and butter. The builder parts was your link tabs.
The 3/8 thick, like the real thick ones.
Yeah. Before, now it seems like having a plasma table was unheard of back then. Now it seems like every other person has a plasma table. But obviously, with everything that progresses, now on the car, obviously I have the differential. Your center sections. I have the JRAT 69 center sections on my car still, but I have the 9-inch ones that we're still trying to build. It's just crazy how expensive anyways, I'm trying to think. There's so many different parts.
Do you run our Heims?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh, I'm sorry. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
That's an easy one. Your Heims and inserts are something I replace every year on the car.
What
Pretty much before every KOH.
What about on the old chassis? Because you had like 60s probably, right?
Yeah. The old chassis was all Ruffstuff tabs on that thing. So it was, whether it be the 3/8 thick link tabs. You guys weren't building trusses when I built that thing. So I actually took, like I was talking to when you were showing me the building with the lasers and stuff, the press brake. We took a big, huge 1/2-inch flat bar to my buddy's press brake, and we tried to bend that up, and that was my truss on that thing. But yeah, every tab on that old car was all 3/8 Ruffstuff. Or it was huge. Everything about that car was just big and dumb. It was strong.
Big and dumb.
That thing. It was funny. I've rolled that thing over backwards so many times, and it was always fine. Roll it back over, and we keep competing.
Yeah.
But it was a tank, and it was heavy, and I never weighed it, but it had to be. 6,000 pounds plus.
Were you running like 60s front and rear, or 14? Yeah. Okay.
60s front and rear. With 42-inch IROCs back then. And then I used to fill them with full of water. Just absolutely full of water in the front.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, the motor was heavy. It was an AMC 401.
That's probably why you rolled backwards.
Yeah,
Sometimes with all that.
yeah.
Once you could get going,
but it would climb great. Being all that front weight, God, it would
water
climb some.
too. That thing's like a billy goat.
Yeah, it would climb some amazing ledges. But like I said, it was a tank, but it was fun. Cut my teeth on it, and now you have something that you feel like you can rock crawl it real well, and then you start trying to go fast, and you start building the Ultra4 stuff, and it's funny how it's always you feel like it's a crutch or something, or people use an excuse, but it is crazy how these Ultra4 cars do not rock crawl that well.
Mm-hmm.
It's frustrating. It is frustrating sometimes, and mine isn't even a very fast one. And so I try to keep, because I come from a rock crawler background, and it's so I want to keep that. I realize I'm never going to be the fast guy in the desert. I'm never going to have that bankroll I mean, the guys nowadays have more money in their motor than they have. I have my whole car.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I've realized last time we raced KOH that I'm gonna try to be a better rock crawler. I can't be the guy doing 120 in the desert.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to be the guy that can rock crawl around everybody. And we changed gears last KOH I raced, which is 2 years ago now, and that was fun. Seriously. The desert was what it was. I just cruised and got out of people's way when they caught me, and in the rock sections, we had fun. I felt like I needed to have my arm out the window with a beer in my hand. It was so relaxing, and it's fun. And the biggest thing we did is we upgraded to a 42-inch tall tire versus a 39-inch BFG.
Hitting all those rocks.
It was amazing. It literally made the car a whole new animal, which, like I said, not great in the desert, but it was phenomenal. Phenomenal on the rocks.
I love that you're putting all this time and effort and you're passionate too, but you're still enjoying it and not letting it get the best of you. Yeah,
I try the best I can. I mean, if you ask my friends and family on KOH Race Week or any of the competition days, I'd
stay out of your way.
Oh, I feel it. I know. It's such a commitment. I mean, of time and money to get to these races, and people don't realize. And then so I get stressed out. I want to do well. I want to. I want to have a good showing for my sponsors and everything else. And so, it's hard to say that stress doesn't get to you. I mean, I think most racers feel that way, but yeah, I'm usually a fun, outgoing person, but on race day, I'm business. I don't know. Yeah.
Business.
I get it. I just irritable. Irritable is the best way to put it.
I can relate to that all the time. Ask Garett. So you've talked about your CJ, you've talked about, your buggy. What's the evolution of what you started with, where you're at now? What vehicles have you built over the years? What have you had?
Well, if you ask my wife, it's everything. I'm a Jeep guy. I'm an old Jeep guy. Okay. So, and it's funny how everybody has their genres. You guys are Toyota guys. I've always been a Jeep guy. I started out, I think when I first started driving, I drove my uncle's CJ7 in high school. That was basically my first car. And then we actually rolled that. But
what year was that?
That was a 76
cool.
CJ7. Rolled that lightly. My cousin has it now. It's still fine. The thing's sitting in his garage. And I keep telling him I want to, give it back to me. I want to fix it up for you, but
fix it up for your son.
Yeah. Well, I have a 82 CJ7. That's my little street Jeep. That's my little hot rod Jeep. It's got a pretty well built 401 in it, and it's my hot rod. Wow. I have a bunch of old Jeep Cherokees, full size Jeep Cherokees, Jeep trucks.
What do you mean a bunch?
Let's see. I have one.
Do I need to call your wife?
Yeah, she probably likes that.
She has a whole inventory list.
She's an angel. She deals with a lot. I have the one Cherokee that's registered for the road. I got some parts vehicles that are kind of out back.
Gotcha. So do you have a shop or do you do this at home?
I do this at home. I used to have a shop.
Oh my gosh. All of these are at home?
Yeah. I had a shop I shared with some friends. And then the way life goes is there's about 4 of us that originally were renting a shop together. Basically I think it was about a 3,000 square foot shop. And then one guy would flame out. We get another guy in there. And the next thing you know, it was just 2 of us. And then it was just me holding the bag. And so finally, when we moved into our house we're in now, we just decided, let's just cut our ties. I sold off a bunch of stuff that I had. I mean, it's amazing what you accrue. I had a forklift, I had a lathe, I had all kinds of stuff. And then I had nothing. And then I went and moved into a two-car garage at home. So I had to off everything that I had and put the rest of it in a shipping container in the corner of the property.
Okay, so that's where everything is. I was going to ask you, do you have a really big side yard? Is your drive? Are you one of those?
We only have about 3.5 acres, but I have a corner that I try to have.
That's a lot. Yeah. Okay, so.
But I'm currently building a shop. Trying to build a shop. I got a slab poured. I just had lumber delivered to us last week, which means that's why it's raining.
Yeah.
I got a lumber at the house now.
Of course.
But yeah, so I'm in the process. Hopefully by January, I should have a 30 by 36 shop at the house.
Nice.
Cool. That's awesome.
I think my wife's happier than I am about it.
Yeah. She can probably park her car in the garage eventually,
yeah, no,
right?
that's her stipulation.
It just means more stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
No, it's
Another forklift.
Yeah, right?
She doesn't know yet.
Yeah.
So what is your daily driver? What takes you to the fire station?
Well, that's another funny story. I had a commuter car that all it did was drive to and from work. That is it. And it's funny because, like I said, I'm a bigger person. I'm 6'3", 240 pounds. And to hop out of this little tiny car.
Was it a Prius?
No, God, no. It was
I feel like a
Chevy.
lot of Ultra 4 people have their daily driver like commuter car. It's like a Corolla or whatever.
But it died. The motor blew up on me a couple months ago, and so I bought a little single cab 2002 Chevy pickup now, and that is my commuter now. It's something I can fix. Something I can fit in. I can pick up parts on the way home.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not the Prius guy.
Do you have a JK?
My wife has a JL.
Okay,
that's my wife's daily. Yeah.
I thought I saw it on your Instagram.
Yep. That's my wife's daily, and we love that thing. We live up in the snow, and now, of course, like me being a fireman, I could be out of town for a week and it'll snow a foot at our house. So
and she needs to be able to get around.
Yeah, especially with the two little ones. So we looked at Tahoes when we first got pregnant, and then we just decided with the snow and me being gone, we bought a Rubicon JL when they first came out. So
how do you love it as a family car?
It's not bad. Granted, it's not the room that you're going to have in a Yukon or a Tahoe, but no, there's plenty of room for the two of us and the two boys.
The car seats.
And it really suits our lifestyle. Whereas we were so close to going over to Sonora Pass into 395. We spent a lot of time in the Eastern Sierras out there camping and fishing and everything else. So it really suits us well. And it's funny, my buddy has been talking to me, trying to get me to get more involved with, I even hate saying the term of it, but the overland scene, because that's essentially what we do. But it's funny how many rock crawler guys hate the term overlander.
I was going to ask you if you put a tent on it.
No, we're not going to put a tent on it. If we did anything, we'd build a little trailer behind it or something. That way we can still have the Jeep to run around. But it's funny. I mean, if you get away from the term, it really is pretty much everything that we do in our off days. Yeah. We go camping and fishing and try to, live a remote life for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's her daily. And outside of that, yeah, we got a lot of projects. I love projects.
Did you do modifications on her JL?
Yeah, put a Synergy lift on it.
Nice.
That's about it. It's a Rubicon, so it's pretty well, it had 35s stock. Well, it didn't have 30. We put 35s on it, and it fits stock. And then we put I think it was a 2 or 3 inch lift from Poly on there. And yeah, they're great people to work with too. So bolt that up easy, and she loves it. Good. We just drove it to Vegas.
Nice.
Literally this last weekend. Drove back yesterday.
And the kids. Oh, yeah. You were on vacation. You told me that you were going. What were you guys doing?
Wife surprised me with some Cody Jinks tickets. So we were checking airfare, and airfare was outrageous. And we kind of enjoy driving. So the Sonora Pass was open. So we took all back highways and went all the way to Vegas.
With or without the kids?
Without kids.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good job, you guys.
Trip.
That's so important. Who watched the kids for you?
Grandparents.
Good. That's so awesome.
My mom and her mom both kind of took turns.
Oh, it's so important. We know, Garett and I know, Steven knows, it's so important.
Oh, it's the first one we've had in years like that. It was the first trip we've taken like that in years.
Yeah.
So
that's so fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was not a bad drive, but yeah.
Good. So I want to know, it sounds like you do most of the work yourself. You've been doing it for a long time. Would you consider yourself a fabricator?
Yes and no. I mean, yes, I'm able to do most things myself, but I became good friends. It's a funny story. Keith up at Get Bent Fab, he has built just an amazing fabrication shop. I met him old rock crawl days, kind of like with you guys, walking courses, and he had a booth set up. He was just getting started and ended up bullshitting with him, and I didn't ever told him I was, driving or anything. I just was checking out what he had. And then fast forward, I think I almost hit his booth. Like it was bad. And I climbed out laughing, and just kind of, it was fun back. That's kind of what you did. And he come found me afterwards. He's like, well, I didn't know you were driving. I'm like, oh yeah, just come to bullshit. But anyways, tied in with him, became buddies actually. And he wanted to build a chassis. And of course, being a chassis builder, if you don't have a car out there ready to show people, nobody's really going to throw you money. And so he kept kind of getting me to want me to build a car with him. And I just, I can't really afford that, man. I could build it myself. I built this one. I can build another one. And he talked to me, let's just kind of look at some designs and go back and forth. And we came into a deal, and my Ultra4 car is actually his first chassis.
Oh,
and now,
awesome.
Now, I mean, he's doing work for Tom Ways. He's building stuff for Jason Schreier. I mean, he's become just one of the premier builders in the industry. It's like great to see. Yeah, it's great to see, especially somebody that I've known for so long now. And like I said, just like you guys, I'm a fan.
Yeah, it's good to see locals come up too.
Fan. It's so like, I feel like I never hear anyone say fan. It's
really?
Yeah, it's so like supportive and nice.
Yeah, good. I mean, I am though. You guys were Ruffstuff especially was probably it was my first kind of official sponsor, like somebody offering to help me out in my driving stuff, and it made me feel like I was becoming a legit competitor.
It's funny because you say you're a fan of us, but I think we can all say we're a fan of yours, and Dan is a fan of yours. So it's just funny to hear like you reverse the roles.
Also, like I was going to say, I don't know any other sponsored racer that's like bought or not bought, but like taking our stickers, put their coupon code on there, and like handing our stuff out. Like people like do social media stuff or do different things that they're obligated to do or whatever. But like I always remember that, like even back in the day, like when we were in Rancho, you'd like, hey, can I get some more stickers so I can hand them out? I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, just didn't. I've never.
Yeah, I remember you guys were having Mikey making for a while. I remember Mikey would come and drop them off. Here you go. Here, Ruffstuff, I'm going to give you these. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
It's funny. We just cleaned out. My wife got a new desk, and one of the drawers, there was a stack of Ruffstuff stickers in there from back in the day.
Oh, some OG ones.
Yeah.
So, who is on your race team with you? How many people do you have?
Whoever I can solicit that weekend. Really, it's just friends and family. I don't have any kind of. That's the thing. When we were talking about, like, I'm a fan of yours. I literally am. I'm the guy that just shows up and can barely afford to make it, and races when I can afford. I have fun doing it, and so I don't think of myself as being like when you guys asked me to come on this show, I say I don't know if I have enough content for you guys. I don't know what you want me to talk about.
You did seem a little nervous.
I don't know what you want me to talk about because I am not the big name driver that you guys should be having in the seat.
No, but I guess you are.
No, but anyways, that's my persona, and I appreciate the time and effort, and I know I'm not good at any of the social media stuff, and I need to try to be better at it, But yeah, I forget how we got to that point. But what you asked me, but
word of mouth is like one of the best like marketing tools like any company I think it has, right? Is like so even like you just like talking good about us is better than like social media, because like people can look at, like, even nowadays you look at social media and like a lot of it at least I do, I'll read into it and like, is this like real or is this like fake content? Right.
Yeah, that's true.
And so yeah, just like talking good about companies and like giving like real stories and honest feedback, is better than some of that stuff. So
yeah, no, I can agree with that. I that's one of my biggest hangups with social media, with like Instagram and stuff is, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have an Ultra4 car, I race when I can, and we have fun doing it, but I still feel like a poser when I post anything.
Oh my god,
I do. I hate doing it. So it's funny. My friends tease me, and everybody's like, tell me I need to get over it. But anyways, it's overwhelming. So back to I remember your question out about my race team.
Yeah.
It literally is just my friends and family, whoever. And what's cool too is in this industry, you go to the races and you make friends. And so we team up with other teams sometimes, or, and that's more often than not what ends up happening, is because you can't get enough people or logistically get people at every pit. So you'll end up teaming up with whoever.
And you can leave your gas with a few other pits.
Yeah, exactly. Or they'll have somebody, hey, I got a guy that's going to be out remote pit 1, and just throw him a couple of fuel cans and cool, sounds good.
Yeah, tire and some cans. And
yeah, exactly. So that's more often than not how I get, my races done.
Do you have co-drivers?
Yeah.
So do you cycle through? Do you have someone you
I've had a couple guys, but the guy I've used the most is Dave Wong.
He's a good dude, yep.
Yeah, Dave is seriously one of the best rock riders. He gets mad at me in my car. He's like, turn up here. I'm like, I can't turn up there. Your car won't turn that. No, it will not turn that sharp. But he is in a full unlimited Jesse Haynes buggy. And so I've spotted for him a few times. He co-drives for me most times. So it's a really nice partnership that we have. And like, it's great too, because he can spot some lines that I'm like, you sure? He's like, yeah, you got it. Go for it. All right, let's try it. And it works more often than not.
Sounds like a good partnership.
Yeah.
Good.
I was going to ask you, you're earlier talking about the, like, if, you built like or KOH vehicles aren't that great for rock crawling, and then you can kind of go either direction. So what do you mean by that? And like how, like from your experience, like trying the balance between that, like what are you balancing?
Well, in order to be stable at speed, your shock, your valving, your spring rates, everything is totally different than what we used to do when we're rock crawling.
It's the exact opposite of
crawling.
crawling.
It's so different, and so the car, especially with the sway bars. I mean, we're running 1.5-inch sway bars more often than not, or sometimes 2 big sway bars like that, just to keep the car stable at speed. Well,
that's not doing anything in the rocks.
It unloads horribly when you start getting off camber or climbing up big ledges in the rocks. So you just gotta you gotta plan on that, and more often than not, you're pulling a tire. I mean, it doesn't climb as well. You don't keep all 4 tires planted as well as you normally do with a rock crawler, and it's a lot more momentum.
Unfortunately, it takes more of like you're sledding through it or something so much.
Yeah, and so it's funny, like and especially during race day, there's you come up to a tough obstacle. There's 3 different lines. You're racing, so you're going to try to take the easiest line that you can. That is funny too, because there's a lot of times there's people on the sideline just booing you. Boo,
they want to see a show.
Yeah, of course, but I would try to finish the race. So.
Yeah, 100%.
And I get it, like I said, coming from the spectator side of it, but.
Yeah, I'm guilty. I'll heckle you.
Oh yeah, no, that's why I laugh. I remember watching one guy. He had a whole sign made up. It was like around a corner.
Oh my gosh!
And I think he had a sign that he like flipped over. He says bypasser.
Yeah.
and I just laughed. I just like gave a thumbs up and kept racing.
It's smart though.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So, what tips do you have for people who want to get into Ultra4? Don't say don't do it. And beginning fabricators. You know, I want to hear what mistakes you've made, what, amazing, spectacular outcomes you've had. It was like 4 questions in one.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Trying to think. I mean, yeah, build it nice the first time. That's what, unfortunately, we're all guilty of, I'll just do this for now, and then you end up, upgrading it later. And next thing you know, it's, and you guys, I mean, for the normal builder, it's funny too. Like, I live in a small town that actually has like a large following of off-road group. And it's funny, like in a small town, you kind of think most people are rock crawlers and stuff. And then you see some kid driving in a Toyota down with 42s and 4-link. You're like, where'd this kid come from?
Yeah.
Right.
But it's cool. It's like this industry. What you guys have is it's the builder parts. I mean, everybody you got a little 110 welder and you can build it in your garage with it. I mean, but that being said, it all depends what you want to do. I mean, that's exactly it. It's crazy how capable a Toyota with leaf springs can be.
Yes.
It's amazing what a nice 4-link rig can do as well. So it's entirely your budget. You could be it's like kind of like my racing. I'm a budget racer. Keith built the chassis, and actually we built it as a roller up at his shop, and I took it home and finished it. And then I still lean on Keith to this day, like with those axles, the 9-inch axles we're going to be putting in. He's got all this CAD stuff that he's drawn out just so we can put some chromoly plate all over it.
Yeah, truss brackets.
Yeah, so it's literally like I said, I'm definitely one of the more budget guys. I have a day job. I race when I can afford to. I fix it when I can afford to. And unfortunately, I miss the old rock crawler days where you just
a lot more simple.
Yeah, it was a simple time where it wasn't weeks of prep and thousands of dollars. And if you take it out and testing, next thing you broke something, it's a minimum $1,000, $2,000 to come fix your car again. Whereas the old rock crawler days wasn't that way at all.
We call that hack nasty.
Yeah.
It used to be like slap it together as long as you can keep going, but it's still safe.
Yeah.
Now tech is, people really get stressed out at tech.
Yeah.
And that's where
especially when there's
KOH
changes
pit.
In the rule book. Like we had,
they change every year. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one year we had like the bumper rule change where you had to like go out in front of the tires.
In front of the tire, yeah.
Yeah, we made
guys were making little.
Yeah, we went through a bunch of tube that year. It was just like we were making hack nasty bumpers just to get.
And they literally fall off first time you nerf somebody. I mean,
I think people even had to just like tack it on.
Yeah,
just so they fall off.
Oh yeah,
because they don't care if it falls off. It just has to be there to pass tech.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, once you going, everything can fall off. Right.
Once you start getting involved with the racing, it is funny how many. I mean, how many rules are bent, or spirit of the rule is kind of like okay, but.
That's like that. I did the 24-hour lemons last year. Yeah. My dad just got back from a race this last weekend.
That's fun,
and that's kind of like that's part of the lemons race is like the cheating aspect of racing, like where they want you. They kind of like they have like a tech. And then they have like another judge. It's called like the bullshit judge. And so you're supposed to spend like $500 on the whole build.
Right.
You can spend whatever you want, but you have to like lie and cheat
justify
your way.
it, yeah.
Here's the bill. Here's the bill of sale, and here's the motor I got for free or whatever, And they'll penalize you in laps, because you want to get as many laps as you can. So, anyways, there's a bunch of like cheaty stuff you can do because they don't care. They just have like
just trying to keep the spirit of it.
They just have safety rules.
Yeah,
and everything else is game. So
no, it's fun. I've always admired that. I wanted to go check that out.
Yeah, it's a good time, man.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say King of the Hammers is exactly the same. So what events do you normally attend in a normal year? I know you said you race when you can afford it, but are there certain ones you say, well, we know you go to King of the Hammers.
Yep. I go to King of the Hammers. Did not race the last 2 years.
Will you be racing this year?
If I do, I have to LCQ. So that is literally, we've been talking about it with me and some buddies I'm trying to figure out if I can even get people down there to help me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last chance qualifier,
yeah,
right?
You have to last chance qualify. So basically you have to be in the top 5 of the last chance qualifiers to get in the main race.
When is that?
That is, they do it during normal qualifying midweek there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they'll just put you through. Actually, I think a lot of times they'll have an hour just for the LCQers.
I think don't they do qualifying? Then it's LCQ app.
Yeah, they got
I
a
think
block.
maybe,
or is it
maybe.
part of it?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Yeah,
It's like a 2-day qualifying.
My first time I raced KOH, I LCQ'd.
The first time you raced?
Yeah, first
Oh,
time I got
wow.
it. So I got the car finished and hadn't raced, or I raced, but I hadn't qualified. I didn't do well enough to qualify. And so we showed up down there and signed up for LCQ and that's what's funny too, is I didn't pre-run any of the actual race course, the KOH race course. All I did is spend like every day I could during and pre-ran the LCQ course, the qualifying course.
That's all you need
And
to
I
worry
literally
about.
just
Yeah.
Master that.
laughed. And come race day, lined up, and I just sent it. Absolutely, just went as fast as I possibly could. And then it came in on a flat tire, and ended up. I think we qualified 3rd in the LCQ, or is it third or 4th, I forget. But anyways, we got in the race, and I was as happy as can be, and changed tires. And then we had to figure out. We started the race never pre-running the course.
I was going to ask you, were you prepared at all? Or
No.
you were just like, I'm going to
No.
try this and I probably won't make it, so who
No,
cares?
so that was tough. Is like, I guess we'll just. I mean, we qualified well too. I think we qualified. I think in the top 30 or 40 out of 100 and probably 100 plus people.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So the desert section just kind of follow the dust and follow the GPS, and I'm not the fast guy in the desert, so I just kind of.
Get ready to get nerfed.
Yeah, just kind of get out of the way when the fast guys come through, and then we
what kind of speeds are you hitting actually in the desert?
So that's what's funny too, is everybody thinks, desert, you're wide open, everything. Well, especially KOH desert is tough.
Dangerous.
40's
It's
hauling
tough.
ass.
Yeah, you have some spots that you can get. I mean, for me, I'm 50, 60, sometimes 70, 80, and then but you have to know the long straight sections and but more often than not, there's washes, there's rocks in there that you're watching out for, and then so it's not the big open like you see on TV where people are doing 100 plus across the desert. You have a couple of those lake beds where you can do.
Yeah,
I think as fast as I've had my car is 110 in one of the lake beds in the race.
Rad.
And so since you haven't pre-ran, like you can't push it.
No,
fast as
that's
you
the thing.
want,
It's
right?
terrifying.
'Cause you don't know
Yeah.
what's
So that was
what's
funny.
coming
I have a video on I think my computer of the GoPro, because the GoPro only lasted for maybe 45 minutes in the car before the battery died. But in the first lap, my co-driver at the time was my buddy Brian. And I feel like we're not on course. And I'm kind of yelling at him because he's got the GPS. I'm just driving. He's like, "No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine." I'm seeing other cars I feel
way
like
far out.
way over to the right of me. He's like, "You're fine. You're going the same direction." I'm like, "Just get me over there." So, and then next thing you know, we're in the dust, and I hit a bush. And anybody knows in the desert, in the bushes, they just collect sand.
They're so dry.
And I'm doing 70, 80 miles an hour on this kind of flat.
Right in
And
the
no,
face.
we jumped. We just launched in the car in the middle of in the dust and just come back down. I'm like, "Oh, we're okay still," and
Oh
just
my
kept racing.
gosh.
But
I worry about birds. That's what I would worry. I mean, are they out there? Are they gonna?
There's actually a
hit
really
in your
funny story
face?
with Don Moss that Dan likes to tell, where he races like a Bronco in the
A
Baja,
full-size
like
Bronco.
500 or 1,000, right? And there was I forget who it was, but someone hit a cow.
yeah.
Oh,
And-
that's sad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was that power line trail there. There's video of it. It's not good.
And so the cow obviously gets hit by like one of the faster trophy trucks early on because they're faster, they're way out front. The cow's dead, and now there's vultures eating the cow. And Dawn comes along, and there's no windshield, right? And so they're going, and the turkey vulture or whatever takes off. Like the same direction the car's going.
Oh Jesus!
And they just keep going, and it comes into the cab, and you have your your head, your
pumper
what's
system.
What's that called on your neck?
The
The
Hans.
The Hans.
Yeah.
You're strapped in, so it's hard. You can't just like
No.
you can't reach very far, and so the co-driver's like pushing it out with his feet, and they just don't want to stop because they're racing.
Is it
and
alive?
It's alive.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know if it like died on impact of hitting his helmet.
No, I mean I'm sure.
No,
it's
it's
okay.
probably in there
Yeah.
angry.
Because it was going.
You know what I mean?
It was
flying away from
it was probably going at speed too. Maybe 15, 20 miles an hour. Probably get hit at like 50 or something like that. So
Gross.
minus the math. But
Did it have like
yeah.
dead cow all over its mouth too?
I don't know that
Mad
part
cow
of the
disease.
story. Yeah.
Well, that's a sad story. In other news, what other events do you usually attend besides King of the Hammers? You
so-
talked about We Rock, Cal Rocks.
Yeah, so Cal Rocks is no longer a thing. Cal Neva is no longer a thing. Those are kind of our local rock crawling competition stuff. Local stuff, there's We Rock is about it, I think.
Is We Rock the Jesse Haynes event?
Yeah, well, no,
Okay.
that's Supercrawl.
Oh, Supercrawl. Okay.
We Rock
We
is
Rock is-
Big Rich.
Okay, yeah.
And then Trail Hero is Little Rich. But I haven't gone out last year and spotted for Dave. He teamed up another guy. He moved to Hurricane, and he's just been killing it out there. But try to make those when I can. NorCal Rock Races try to make. If nothing else, come as a spectator, scheduling permitting.
Mhm.
I mean, and then outside of that, we've been getting involved with some of the trail cleanups and stuff like that. It's kind of a new little thing my buddies got me involved with. Milestar's been doing some of those, and
Cool.
Where do you guys do those?
so went down to what's the name of the town there? Down way down 395 by was it Big Pine, Lone Pine area. We did a cleanup down there. I was supposed to go last weekend down to Joshua Tree National Park and help out down there, but one of those things, I was off for the week, and next thing you know, we couldn't make it. There's a whole nother backstory to that, but couldn't make it. My buddy went, but yeah, it's neat to get involved with different stuff like that.
That's
A
nice.
little different,
Kind
venue.
of give back, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, it's just neat. I mean, we're all obviously off-road enthusiasts, and kind of let BLM know that we're not all takers.
Yeah. Do you go to the Rubicon?
Yes, enjoy going to the Rubicon, all the trail rides. We have a local trail up above our house that it's plenty hard. It's nice because I can be on the trail within an hour from my house. So, and that's our local spot we camp at. So more often than not, we go up there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to tell you where it is.
Okay, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna take my car.
No, everybody knows it. It's not a big deal.
Just because I know you said you're an avid Jeeper. Have you ever done like Jeep Jamboree or
Have
anything
not.
like that?
You know what's funny is I never have. We always say we always have the greatest plans to do it. Years ago, I went to the Easter Jeep Safari in Moab. That was fun. And that was a trip. Is we took our big rock crawlers back then and had a great time. And I really had a blast driving around. And you get to the end of the trail and there's like a stock YJ pulls up next to you. You're like, well, I guess but it's still fun.
With street tires.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
man.
It's a cool.
But it's whatever
place,
you
yeah.
want it to be
Yeah.
out there. It's kind of cool. But it was just that was a neat experience. I want to go do that again. No, I haven't done the Jeeper Jamboree. That's one of the things that's on our list, especially is now I got the boys and the wife. We want to
more family
Yeah, we want
events.
to take more of that stuff versus the hardcore or off-roading where you're on
Yeah,
the
they'll want
rocks
that
or
when
something.
they get older.
Yeah. Be more family fun stuff.
Yeah, you could take your wife's JL
Yeah.
too.
I don't know.
Yeah, the boys will be just send it,
Ah,
wreck it.
yeah, he has 2 boys.
Yeah.
He'll
You'll
tell
be
you
in
what you're in
trouble.
for.
Well, that's my wife's. I mean, she's just as much of a advocate as I am. She wants me to build a 4-seat rock crawler now.
Oh, nice for the full
I said,
family.
okay, yeah, all right. Well, when we get the shop done.
Yeah. Stephen, you have a 4-door Razor? Or 4-seater?
2-door Razor.
2-door, but
yeah,
4
I
seats?
made it a 3-seater.
There you go.
Oh, you got like a bump seat for your kid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Ever since like having a Land Cruiser that was cool, and then you get something that's way better for day trips.
Yeah.
Like the amount of fun that you have when you can run like the whole trail in 3 hours
Yeah.
versus part of it in 6 is pretty entertaining. No matter what you're doing, you're going slow. You look down, you're doing 25. Like going through stuff like this is unheard of. Yeah.
I feel like
fun.
it's nice not to have to leave the kids at home or find a sitter or leave your wife at home, and you can do it all as a
bring 'em all.
family.
Yeah, for sure.
Becomes something that everybody's excited to do.
And like I said, it makes it easier that my wife and my kids are 100% on board,
Interested.
interested in it. They love the sport. They love everything about it, which makes it easy.
Do they come out with you when you've gone to KOH or your
Oh,
wife?
Yeah. Not the last 2 years, and we didn't take the boy the first time. So that's what we're looking forward to. She just told me the other day that she doesn't think she's going to come with the 6-month-old.
I
So I don't blame her.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
My 3-year-old would love it, but maybe.
I think that's scary too.
Yeah, there's a lot of knuckleheads out there, so
It's also just
it's tough.
dusty and a baby in the dust. I mean, you're in the
So
medical
maybe
field.
next year, yeah.
Yeah,
We'll see.
that dust like concerns me. For
I am
little
looking forward to
baby
everybody
lungs.
down there. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, remember a couple of years ago, it was crazy. That was the
Yeah.
dustiest I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it just hung out.
Remember
Stick of,
hearing
like,
like
baby Carlos.
like it was like just over like Hammertown.
Yeah,
and
the
we kept
KOH
going
cough
back
was there.
and forth.
Oh my gosh.
That was the year of COVID, I think,
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
It might have been.
I
Yeah.
think it was like
Interesting.
it was like right when like COVID was like coming out.
Yeah, I think
And
you're right.
everyone like we got like 2-3 guys sick from Ruffstuff and
Yeah.
19 and 20 was pretty bad for the dust out there,
Yeah.
for sure.
There was a year quite a while ago where it rained really, really bad, and Dan wore flip flops the whole
that was
time.
the first year.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, that was I
What was the first year? 2012.
because we got stuck in the mud. No, we went in 2010 and we
okay.
just had a booth, a display.
And that was the year it rained really bad.
Yeah, we got stuck in the mud.
It was insane.
And then I remember waking up in the back of the trailer and seeing Dan outside smoking a cigarette
Gross.
and flip flops. Just his feet are just covered in mud. I'm like, what is he doing?
Every
Like,
vehicle's buried in mud out in the lake bed.
just
like,
avoid the mud pit, Dan.
just bad.
Yeah, it's always such a crapshoot down there. That time of year, you don't know. I mean, we've been t-shirts, we've been snow. One year we lined up to leave, and it was like I think 28 degrees when we started the line.
Ooh, that was
Yeah,
probably
it
a
was
cold
freezing.
drive
Yeah.
in the desert.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Then there's one year like all the lower pits got swamped with over a foot of water, so everybody lost their pits.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, because you figure it's a dry lake bed. You get enough rain, it doesn't become dry anymore.
That's why you don't camp on the lake bed.
Yeah, no, that's why we've started camping up on the hill a little bit.
The farther out you are, the better off it is when it comes time to go home. Because sitting in that line for 8 hours is not cool.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. So I kind of wanted to circle back to this question because I don't feel like you properly answered it.
All right.
What advice do you have for those wanting to get into Ultra 4?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Other than have a lot of money. No.
I know. Well, I do think you have such a very interesting perspective because you come from like the older generation of, like we said, Hack Nasty and.
Well, you can build a nice car without spending a fortune. Think about it. I mean, especially nowadays, your LS motors you get off Craigslist for, you can get a 5.3 for under $1,000, a good running one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you get a 5.3 or a 6-liter and put a little bit of money and some upgrades on it and a Turbo 400 and a good transfer case, and that's the bulk of your power plant. That's essentially what I have. I have a junkyard LS2 in my car that I cammed, injectors, intake, and that's really about it. And did some tuning on it, and I love the car. I have a Turbo 400 in it. I started out with just a junkyard Turbo 400 that I had a local shop build for me, and then now I have a maximum transmission Ultra 400 or Ultra 4 Turbo 400 he calls it, with a reed case and the whole bit. But I also have, like I said, I really wanted to have like the Swiss Army knife. I can't afford to have different transfer cases for different race
Right.
venues.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I solicited advanced adapters for one of their Atlas 4-speeds in a race case version.
That's good.
So I have a race case Atlas 4-speed with a 1.5 gear in the main case, and then so with your 2.7 planetary, I can still rock crawl around 4 to 1 if I have both the transfer cases in low, but I still have a 1.5 case for the short course.
That's amazing.
And it's great because I have a top speed of like 90 miles an hour in that.
Yeah, that's good.
But that's plenty, and so it's I'm more competitive. I'm not front running by any means, but I'm actually not. I don't feel like I'm in the way anymore when I did that.
Right.
Seems like your priorities like are set on like having a good time, but also being able to rock crawl and like having kind of a multi-purpose rig still, right?
Yeah, I want to be strong. Nobody wants to be that guy in the way by any means, and so I want to be competitive. But yeah, you can build, like I said, you can put together a decently competitive Ultra 4 car that you can go out and race and have a great time. I mean, very few people have the bankroll to be able to afford the motors that guys are putting into. But like I said, I am that guy that I show up with my pickup or my flatbed trailer, and I have the time of my life racing.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
And I seldom feel like I'm in the way. And if I do get caught, I get out of the way. I'd never want to ruin anybody's race.
Yeah. It happens. It's not like people do it. Not everybody, nobody's doing it on purpose, but I get it. You have
Sure.
the right intention for sure.
Yeah, it seems like the people that are, well, I mean, I haven't been across the whole race course, but on the spots where we used to be able to spectate closely, like Sledgehammer and stuff, it was mainly terrain driven, like was the problem.
Yep.
Like, there's a bottleneck and one guy can't get through.
That's
the
what's
brakes,
tough. It's and it was actually got a fun story about that too. Is we last KOH, we get all the way through, I think it was Sludge, and same thing. You got one guy rolled over, another guy bellied, turtled out, and then we have there's 8 cars just kind of waiting, and it was cool because I end up catching up to Kevin Yoder, and Trevor hopped out, and my co-driver was about to hop out and start helping people, try to clear it up, because once everybody's out of the way, we can all go, right? So Trevor yelled at Dave to stay in the car, and that way and they literally spotted me around, and we picked some line that somebody just rolled over on. He's like, "I think you got it, Jimmy. I think you got it." I'm like, all right, let's try it. And so sure enough, we went over and I ended up laying on 2 tires into a rock and pirouetting around this rock and past 8 cars. And Trevor runs over and gives me a high five. That was awesome. And then he's like, go. And we took off again. But those were fun. I mean, the rock crawling.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And that was, like I said earlier, we upgraded those bigger tires and it was, I don't ever want to go down a smaller tire again.
So what's on your ultimate bucket list of where you'd like to wheel?
Where I had a lot of fun in Moab, but that was a whole experience, the whole environment, the downtown Moab. We're there for the week.
Yeah.
That was fun. I want to do that again.
It's a whole vibe.
I have yet to go to Sand Hollow. I want to go do that. That would be fun. Trying to think. Race wise, that's I mean, I'd love to go to Mexico and do the San Felipe stuff, or even Baja.
Yeah.
But that's a small fortune to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hard to say. Where we live, obviously up here, we have a lot of options compared to other places in the nation. Whereas we have the Rubicon, we have Moon Rocks, we have a lot of these smaller trails that are a little less known, that are still a great time. And that's the thing too, is I can hop in the car and be down here at Prairie City in about an hour and 45 minutes and test the car out, test whatever we want to test on. So so it makes it easy. But as for, I don't know, I'm trying to think holy meccas.
Anywhere out of the country? Well, you said Mexico, but anywhere else out of the country?
Oh, I wouldn't even know. I don't know.
Okay.
And there's some good stuff on the East Coast.
Yeah, for sure.
Rock bouncing.
Yeah, right.
Right. Have I already covered enough of what your 2022 race season is going to be, or can I ask that? I don't want to.
It's still up in the air for me. I mean, so KOH is still our first choice. I mean, unfortunately, that's what it falls down to. I always have this huge, ambitious list that I'm like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then, lo and behold, it'll just end up we'll be 2 weeks before the race. I'm like, I can't do that.
Oh, really? That soon?
Sometimes. I mean, it depends. I mean, real life, like I said, it's especially you start, having kids and everything else, and you hate to call that excuse out like you always hear people do, but there's priorities change. So, but that being said, like I said, as my boys get older and they're into it, it's reinvigorating me and wanting to do it. And, so I always try to do at least one NorCal Rock race. It's hard to commit to the whole season just with my schedule and whatnot. And especially with me, with my career choice, a lot of times I get mandatory. I'll go to work for 2 days and sometimes I won't come home for a week sometimes.
Yeah.
So I can have the best of plans, I'm going to race this weekend. Well, unless I trade off and really stack my shifts to assure it, there's no guarantee.
You mean trade off other people that cover your shifts?
I'll get I'll say, hey, I'll work your days, you work mine, and then I'll work 4 days in a row, and then I'll have off a week. Mm-hmm. But inevitably, I'll say, okay, I need these 4 days off to fix the car or prep the car out. And then I say, no, I get held on at work and I never got a chance to prep the car.
It's a lot of moving parts to get out
so
there.
That's just my own little whiny story about it. But, but no, I like I said, I have the biggest ambition of wanting to race every race because I enjoy it. But I'm a realist about it, whereas it's hard for me to load up and drive somewhere at the East Coast to go race. So I cherry pick my local races when I can. And that's why I was kind of bummed when Wild West shut their doors. So we don't get that venue anymore. That was always such a fun course to race. Cool. Yeah. It was great for spectators. It was a great little pit for us. It was and it was an easy drive. Obviously, Prairie City, the Stampede is always a good one. But I gotta check a schedule again on what they're doing. I know that West Coast they're focusing hard on San Felipe, and I gotta check see what it is. I feel bad. I'm not even been so out of it this last year that I need to double check it.
We've got a 6-month-old baby at home. You're allowed to be out of it.
Right?
Yeah, you're allowed to be out of it.
You're busy.
What's up with the Wild West Motorsports Park? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know much about that. So what is it? Was it shut down and nothing else is there, or
my understanding is they closed the doors, the race course. I don't know what the
owner of it.
Yeah, I don't know what
I
don't know what the background story is. I just saw some blurb on Facebook or something.
Maybe they just
and then they changed the nationals.
Like the bank owns it now, and it just
I don't know. I don't think that. I think he had a successful construction business out there, but I don't know.
Maybe he's just not into it anymore. But I guess it's not for sale and it's not opening is what your question is.
I was just curious like what the story was.
I couldn't even tell you. I just know that it's not on the venue list anymore.
Yeah.
Which hopefully someday it will again, because that was, like I said, that was a neat track. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun to invite all your friends and family to come, because you can see from the grandstands the whole track.
That's
Powerful.
This question was actually from Steven. He gave me the idea for it. What are your thoughts about electrical vehicles taking off in the off-road industry?
I think it's really neat, actually. I do. I'm a fan of it. I think it's just it's gonna open the doors. Don't get me wrong. I don't know much about electric vehicles in general, but I think it's neat. Like I was actually just earlier this last year before they announced, was it Geyser Brothers put together that trophy truck? I think. Anyways, somebody was like, "Oh, I bet you they're gonna have next Baja. They're gonna have an electric vehicle." I'm like, no way. I don't think they're there yet. You know, with the batteries and stuff. Yeah, no, I was so off base.
I think there was two.
I was so off base, and then sure enough, Ford's coming out with their packages for the racers, the Ultra4 guys. Yeah, no, I think it's neat. It's really cool to see what they're going to do. When we had last KOH, there was a Toyota guy that used to work for Tesla that put together an electric Toyota and raced it. So yeah, it's cool if we could figure out the battery part of it for the range, or a quick way to change batteries, which I'm sure a lot smarter people already have that figured out.
Yeah,
but no, I'm a fan of it. I think it's neat because electric motors are just raw torque. They're amazing, but. Yeah, it's not without its issues, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, actually, side question with electric vehicles. Do you guys in the I guess fire department or as a first responder, do you guys do training with electric vehicles? Are they more
a little
danger
bit
with like accidents and stuff?
Yeah, there is a little bit. There's some things to avoid on where they route their power and stuff. Yeah, if with a significant accident, you really got to be careful where you're cutting,
because you have to like cut. Yeah, you
say, like
for sure.
Cut so usually most of the power is ran underneath the quarter on the bottom there. So you just try to avoid that and try not to cut there. I mean, there's so many with these new cars. Nitrogen charged airbag, side curtains and everything else that you have to avoid now. Yeah, so it's if they haven't already deployed, it's definitely a hazard you got to watch out for. Man. But luckily, by the time we get there, usually if it's that bad of an accident where we're cutting them out, it's already been deployed. So
wow,
that's crazy.
So what are some of the craziest fixes you've had to do?
Oh, let's see. I've lost trailing arm at the Fallon 250 at speed.
Did you actually lose it, or you went back and got it?
Oh, I just flipped underneath the car and pulled the axle out at like 80 miles an hour.
Oh my gosh.
And luckily it didn't really do much. It kicked the ass end up a little bit and then just kind of started crab walking the car, and enough that I was able to slow down and stop and get off the course. But I lost.
Did you know that's what was happening in that moment?
No. I just the car exploded and I was going off course and trying to keep it from start doing cartwheels. From start doing cartwheels. Yeah. Trying to think brakes. That was probably one of the bigger ones. Obviously, you break a lot of axle shafts, lockers. Now to the point I went full circle back into spools now, just because.
They won't go.
Yeah, I mean, it's really nice having a selectable locker at times. Like when I start the desert stuff, I usually unlock my lockers, and it takes a lot of the wear and tear off of the axles and the whoops and stuff. So it's nice, but it bites in the ass one time, and next thing they try to make it simpler. Trying to think big brakes. Every gamut of. I've blown up transmissions. I've seized a motor midway through a jump. I lost my oil line. Wow. My oil line, I didn't know it, and large Dash 8 oil line just pissed out all the oil over a half of a lap and didn't notice it. And I was driving by myself and hit a jump, and the car died, and
Were you there the year one of the Gomez brothers did that, like on the starting line? Yeah, it was like it was starting line. It was like there was a jump, like the freaking oil spewed out because the line got broken, and it was over.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah, but yeah, other than that, I mean, I've had some pretty good rolls with the Ultra4 stuff. The old rock roller days, those are spectacular slow rolls. But my scariest one I caught a bad whoop at about 70 miles an hour at my first KOH, and it kicked me, and I started running after it, and I couldn't catch anything, so we started cartwheeling. We slowed down a little bit. We probably, by the time we started rolling, we're probably doing 50 or so. But luckily, it was really nice, soft sand, and all it did is ripped apart my radiator a little bit. But nonetheless, it ended our race.
Do you feel as a first responder, your response to these situations and things are just whatever? Do you feel like, I mean, I know my dad used to say, like, the amount of like coping mechanisms you have after every situation, right? Things just start to.
I mean, there's definitely like with the big roll that I had where we cartwheeled in the desert. The first thing obviously anybody's worried about is I'm yelling at my co-driver, "You okay? Are you okay?"
Yeah.
And he's doing the same to me. I'm like, "I'm fine." He's like, "You're fine right now." I'm like, "I'm fine." Yeah. Well, the way we ended up on the A-pillar, it was really soft sand. Like I said, half my body was covered in sand, and he just looked down and just saw half me covered in sand. I'm talking to him. He's like, "You're fine right now." I'm fine.
Yeah.
And we're so tied up, you can't move. So anyways, but definitely.
I mean, you seem very like calm and even keeled, and so I don't know if like your professional training mixed with doing this, like what most people, not you guys, but what most people would consider is an extremely dangerous, like crazy sport.
I don't know. Yeah, like I've always enjoyed go fast stuff.
Have you had any injuries?
No, knock on wood.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. Yeah.
I'll knock.
Yeah. No. Luckily,
not even one. Not a broken finger.
We're wrong. You're always sore.
Bit your cheek.
Yeah, you're sore after rolling or just sitting in the car for like one of the KOHs I raced. I think we timed out. We literally were spitting out drive lines like crazy, and by the time we were like 12 hours in the car, and just
wow,
it wears on you.
Your butt hurts.
Yeah.
So. Actually, even in Ultra4, have you heard of many like injuries at all, or is that?
If anything, it's the spotters that get the worst of it, trying to climb up and down the rocks.
Sometimes, yeah, you can get some injuries like that. I mean, obviously the wrecks are the worst thing possible to happen to anybody.
Yeah, that's a no.
Like Tom had his bad one. Waze had his bad wreck, and that's it's. His co-driver ended up, I think, took a helicopter ride. But and I think Tom was unconscious and stuff. But anyways, it's a real thing. I mean, especially the speeds we're going. I mean, it's inevitable, unfortunately.
Do you ever have to jump out and help? Have you ever had to help?
I haven't come across anybody during the race yet that's been injured, no. But of course, everybody would.
Now,
per rules, is everyone supposed to do that, or is
I
that
believe
like
so?
one
Yeah,
of those kind of like I didn't see it. And
no, I can't imagine.
No one in the right mind would do that, but
right. I'm not. I'm sure there's a rule for it, but one of those things I don't think it would ever need to be really written down.
I mean, I hope.
We all have to keep our own medical stuff on us. You have a first aid kit in the car. Everybody's required to that.
Yeah,
goes
you should be self-contained.
Yeah. So you have plenty of stuff with you, fire extinguishers, everything else. More often than not, that's what you end up finding is guys broken down, and like especially when like. It is kind of a small world. Like I see guys that I'm friends with, and during the race, and they're on the side of the road, and I'll pull over for say, "Hey, what do you need?" Like, go. We're good. Okay, cool.
Nice. Yeah.
And the same thing. I've had guys pull over and check me. What do you need? I'm like, your radiator.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, next caller.
Yeah.
I guess when you say everybody helps everybody, I would just think you just want to be careful of not moving somebody if they've been in an accident, right?
Yeah. So there's obviously educated risk to everything. If the car's in bad shape, then you need to get them out. You need to get them out.
Yeah.
But yeah, you
do the best you can with what you got.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have I mean, you've already had some good stories for us, but I want to hear like what are some of the craziest things that have happened to you? What are your craziest wheeling stories, racing stories? You didn't hit the cow. We know someone else hit the cow.
Yeah, never hit an animal yet. I'm trying to think. Not much. Like I said, trailing arm, that was rough. The barrel roll at my first KOH was rough. And that was my fault. I was one of those. I went the week before, and or not week before, around New Year's, went down and shock tuned with ADS. and where we shock tuned was where I rolled.
Of course.
Oh,
And it was that
Yeah.
was the story I was telling you earlier. Whereas I never pre-ran the course,
Right.
so we're just driving by GPS and coming over this hill. I'm like, oh, I know where we're at, and I'm like, we shock tune right here. So I just started laying on it like I was shock tuning because I was doing 80 plus through there when I was shock tuning. Well, I didn't even, just being stupid me, it didn't occur to me that they've been racing on this race course all week.
Yeah.
And
It's not the same.
and so I start getting into these things, and I'm hitting these whoops hard. I'm like, wow, this is rough. And my buddy right about me is like, man, this is rough. I'm like, yeah, I know. And next thing you know, we kicked one, and then I'm run after it, and yeah. And I should have known too, because it's like when you watch some of the Baja videos, be out in the middle of nowhere, and there was a group of like 20 cars parked right there in the middle of nowhere. I'm like,
Right, you
and,
should know
and
that
hindsight,
area
I'm
is
like, well, this is probably a bad spot.
Yeah.
Was that the year I think we met up with you out there? Was that year?
Oh, when we did shock tuning?
Yeah, I think you were
I
doing
try to
shock
meet up with
tuning.
ADS every year and have them look over the car.
Yeah,
I know one of the years I reached out with you guys, and
Yeah,
then we came out and did some videos.
You were
and
kind of
stuff.
like behind. I don't know which direction that is. Kind of like.
Yeah, that
So-
wasn't where I rolled though.
No, okay.
No, it was a different year. But that's a good little spot too, though.
Yeah.
that gets kind of wild in there, especially later in the week. It gets big out there.
Have you, what out of your builds, what do you feel the most accomplished on? Is it your current vehicle? Is it all of them?
Yeah, I mean, don't worry. I'm incredibly proud of the Ultra4 car, especially like I said, me being who I am. I enjoy driving. I love what it can do. Other than that, I try to get involved in everything. I painted my Jeep this last summer. I mean, I took on body work and everything else, and it turned out phenomenal.
Did you make your own paint booth? at
Yeah, out
home?
of basically an Amazon tent
Nice.
Nice.
with some
Good.
visqueen and
You
just
did
went
it
to
right.
town on it. Yeah, but it turned out better than I could have been. I mean,
And you save a ton of money
Yeah.
on stuff like that. So
But,
you're like a real DIYer.
I love
like
doing
that.
it, and it probably cost me more and took longer to do it, and didn't end up as well as it would have if I paid somebody. But
it's a
I'm
learning.
that guy that I'd rather do it myself.
Can teach. Those are skills you can teach your kids too.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You know
Are you
what I
doing
mean?
the shock yourself too? Like the.
Yeah.
Did you pour the slab too?
I've hired some finishers, and I got a couple of buddies over to help me, and we formed it out, and
Nice.
then I had another buddy that owns a cement or a concrete pumping, and he pumped it. And just hired a couple finishers, yeah. And then same thing with the shop itself. I'll be doing most of it myself and me and a buddy.
Is it? You said lumber, so you're doing a wood shop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's kind of that price point. Whereas I got quotes for metal buildings, and
Yeah.
it's only a 30 by 36. It's literally the same price for wood versus steel, and actually I think steel's more expensive nowadays.
Yeah.
I
it's
waited-
Harder to get. Yeah,
I waited all
Steven.
summer for lumber to go down a little bit.
it
Yeah.
is.
It did.
And so it's down. It's
Yeah.
down now. So it's actually cheaper for me to build it out of lumber than it is steel.
And you said it snows where you're at.
Mhm.
So are you insulating then?
Yep.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah,
like
for neighbors too.
woodpeckers?
They don't want to hear
those
my
things-
grinder
Yeah.
at 2 a.m.
What about what?
What about like woodpeckers and stuff? You're up in the mountains and you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
worry about those things tearing apart the side of your house.
No, not really. I mean, they don't really mess with our house.
When you think of like metal, you're like metal for a reason, maybe. You know?
It's gonna be next to my house, so I wanted to match the house a
Yeah,
little
it
bit.
gotta
Yeah.
look nice.
No, that's true. Got to keep it up.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. So I saw on your Instagram you like to fish. Looks
Yeah.
like you and your son like
Yep.
to fish a lot.
Yeah, he loves fishing. I love fishing too, but yeah, it's fun because he really got into it.
What kind of fish do you usually fish?
I'm a trout guy usually. Don't get me wrong, I'll fish everything. We got a little fishing boat that we'll take out all summer long. Whatever's biting, we'll go for bass or catfish, but mostly trout. We do a lot of river fishing. If the bite is on, we'll do some trolling with the boat and stuff. But yeah, it's literally anything, everything. Something to get out with the boys and go fishing.
Yeah,
Whether
Steven
it be
loves
stream
to fish.
fishing or fly fishing, or I used to really be into fly fishing in high
Dan
school.
loves
Dan's
fly
a
fishing.
fly
I know.
Don't tell
Oh
Dan
my
Yeah,
that.
so he
God.
really jumped in both feet of that.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
But,
got like 6 reels just on the top of his truck right now.
Yeah,
I
I
think,
just got. I was out of it for so long, and then I literally last year got a reel from one of our local. We have fortunate enough to have Galvan reels right there local to us. It makes really high end reels.
Very cool.
And so I did some horse trading with them and got a reel from them. So trying to get back into it.
Do
Very
you
nice.
guys eat the fish?
Yeah, I do.
Your kids?
My wife does it. James will, but he's not really sold on it yet. And
So
James
do you throw a lot of them back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually we
'cause you
just
don't
catch
need
and
that
release.
many
Yeah,
fish.
exactly. And that usually makes him mad when we throw him back.
Oh. What's the biggest fish you've caught?
Oh, I don't know. We go out salmon fishing in the Delta or out in the ocean. Those are always some good, anywhere from 20 plus pounders. Trying to think. I went down when we went to Mexico years ago. I caught I think it was a 90-pound marlin. I don't know. That's probably about it.
What's the smallest fish you've caught?
Very small, especially fly fishing. It's funny how small of a fish you can get.
Like
sometimes.
a little goldfish?
Yeah, it's
really?
crazy sometimes, yeah.
Oh my God. What kind of?
Well, a lot of times you're using these little tiny little
ask
midges
you about
or
the
nymphs and stuff.
bait.
The tiniest stuff
That's like
sometimes.
a tiny worm?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
It's just a fly.
It's a fly?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like a little, like just a speck of something in your out.
Sometimes, yeah.
How do you even get it on if it's that tiny?
I often wonder how Dan ties any of his stuff.
With his fingers?
Yeah, with his fingers and like how small the line and stuff is. I'm like having a hard time doing it, and he's a lot older than me, so I'm like, man.
Gotta get your bifocals on.
Yeah, right? A little magnifying glass.
Steven, what's the biggest fish you've caught?
I want to say like over 6 feet. It was a sturgeon.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Where was that?
It was on the Sacramento River, but it was in a closed zone, so I couldn't keep it, and it was too big.
Yeah, what the
there's
hell
a
are you
slot
going
limit on
to
'em.
do
Yeah, it
with
was just
that?
totally just terrible. I guess that people will go crazy for caviar, the eggs inside of it. I mean, it looked like a dinosaur. It was the ugliest, coolest thing I've ever caught. But, you know, outside of that, it was kind of boring because it took so long to get it. I think it was
really?
like an hour and a half before like the thing started jumping, you know, like before we got it like to where you could net it and everything.
Yeah, especially a
and,
big one like that.
yeah, and then I guess we weren't supposed to net it. You weren't supposed to take it out of the water, all this stuff.
So then
you
you're
know
like
what I mean?
worried about it.
Yeah, then you get like people like these Karens like riding by in their boats, taking like pictures of you with this like illegally caught fish, and you're just like, "What do you want me to do?" Like, I've never done this before. you know? But yeah, other than that, I don't know. That's probably the biggest.
That's pretty big.
It was neat, but it was so disappointing. Like I said,
do
you
you-
get
what,
something
like-
and
Is that even a thing? Like, how do you like? So you can illegally catch a fish, but like you can't like force that fish not to bite that hook.
that's
right?
what I was saying. That's I was like, well, I didn't like say, hey, you know, you sure you want to do this? You know, like it saw the row and took it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I thought it was a salmon, and then when it jumped, it's like, oh hell.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
big fish.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I feel like I've grilled you enough and asked you plenty of questions. Is there, do you want to share your coupon code?
Oh, it's easy. It's just Fighting 55, all caps.
Okay. So everybody can use that
Yep.
for what?
I think it's 10% off.
Yeah.
Anything
Yes.
rough stuff.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And it's been active for a long time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You said it was one of the first things you did
Yeah.
with Dan, right?
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
That was my first thing ever, yeah.
So if listeners want 10% off their order, they can
Anytime. I mean, I know you guys have some awesome sales all the time, but yeah, if it could be midnight on a Tuesday on a nothing, you get 10% off.
Nice. Okay.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Well, thank you for coming out. It was really fun to, get to know more about you and listen to all of your stories. Maybe we'll see you at King of the Hammers.
Yeah. I'll be there for sure.
You'll be there. Maybe
I will
we'll
be there
see you
for
racing.
sure. I just got to figure out if we can afford LCQ and race.
What's your Instagram handle?
Fighting 55 Racing.
Okay, so people
Yep.
can follow you there. They can check out your builds. They can check out your buggy.
Yep.
They can see your cute kids.
Yep.
They can see all the tiny fish you catch.
That's right. Trying to be better about it, but yeah, we actually been working with some other people where I need to start posting more because I like to think we do some cool stuff. I just never take pictures or post anything.
I
of it.
looked at your page. I think it looks great. I think you put too much pressure on yourself.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, it looks good. Keep it up.
What about some of
Have
the
to do
other?
it for marketing.
What was that?
You kind of have to do it for marketing.
Exactly.
So,
That's
Yeah,
where
there's a lot of
exactly that's
pressure on
where it's
social
at nowadays.
media.
Is
I mean, just look at it like that, and it won't be so. I don't know. It won't be so weird.
Look at
or
me,
awkward.
yeah.
I think you've mentioned a few of them, but like some of your other sponsors.
Yeah. ADS.
Yeah, ADS.
Get
And like you guys, yeah, Get Bit is it's funny. I try to become friends with and you build relationships with them. Some of my favorites, obviously, you guys, ADS, Keith at Get Bent, Sierra Gear and Axle, Steve at Power Tanker, phenomenal to work with.
We love Power Tank.
Trying to think, you put me on a spot and I was not looking at the side of my panel on my race car right now.
Yeah.
Rugged Radios are always they're always super cool to talk to.
I call them our industry best friends.
Yeah.
Our industry BFF. We love them too.
Yeah, no, this is, and I'm like I said, I have one guy I talk to all the time. He's just a sales guy, and I don't have like a formal relationship with him. He just takes
they're
care of
just
me.
such nice. Our whole staff is outfitted with rugged radios. We use them daily.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Other than that, Race on Wheels is a big one. They've been. There were another one that from the get go.
We love Greg.
I hit up
Tolkien.
Greg when I started rock crawling, and
He's a big fisher too. He
Uh-huh.
loves
Oh, yeah.
to fish.
Oh, yeah. That's what we've talked when he was before they started going out to Michigan and getting them salmon. He was trying to get him come up with me and take him out in my little boat or go out in the ocean and try to get some.
Yeah, when he comes through, Dan will usually go fishing with him. You guys should all go.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think Dan likes going
funny.
up my area too, up 395 fly fishing. So I should reach out to him.
Yeah,
I think he mentions that. Yeah,
Yeah, he's up in your area a lot, actually.
Yeah.
careful, he'll hook your lip. You gotta be careful. Cool. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming out. We really appreciate your time. And for anybody who wants to send us feedback, they can email us. Our email is podcast@ruffstuffspecialties.com and use Jimmy's code. What was your code?
Fighting 55.
Fighting 55 for
All caps.
10% off your order anytime.
Yeah.
sweet.
Okay, thanks
Thanks for having me.
guys.
Thanks for the opportunity,
appreciate
guys.
it.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.